it's time to start planting some things. And I didn't think that raspberries would be the first thing I'm planting on our new land, but here they are. Matt went to volunteer at the organization that replaces roofs for people in need. And the lady that owned the house, she dug up some raspberries and gave to volunteers, whoever wanted them. So he came back home with 5 raspberry clippings. I'm planting them here next to the RV. This should be a fairly sunny area, but one thing I'm not sure about is this is essentially a forest. So we have seen some wild raspberries on our property, so the soil is probably good for them, but really I have no idea. So I'm planting them here, and hopefully they will grow. I'm planting them with 2 feet spacing apart. In the hole, I'm putting in some of the leftover potting soil from last year where we grew tomatoes in a grow bag, and hopefully that helps them thrive. But yeah, it will be interesting to see how they grow here at the edge of the forest that we are reclaiming. I'm also adding some of the original soil that they came in. I'll cut off some of the small shrubs and trees that are growing next to them so that we don't confuse which are raspberries. And then I'll top it off with some of the wood chip mulch that we generated last year. These are all the rocks that I dug out while trying to make the holes for the raspberries. And here I have 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 raspberry transplants. And I put rocks in front of them so that we don't accidentally run over them and remember where they are. So I really hope that the first things I planted on our homestead survive, and I hope we can bear some fruit, if not this year, then the next year. It's Monday morning and we are back at tree felling. Today should be a really nice day, sunny and warm. It's gonna be raining later in the week, so we're trying to get as much done in the forest as we can. First up, felling a few trees.
We're making really good progress this morning. We've taken down 8 trees so far, although to be fair, some of them were quite small. We're having to take the trees down in a fairly specific order just to make our lives easy. So the next couple of trees that will come down, we've got a birch, and it's kind of interwoven or trapping, I guess, 2 spruce behind it. So we're going to take the birch down, that will unlock the 2 spruce behind that. If we were pushing these down with an excavator, it wouldn't really matter, you could just push them down in any order. But because we're relying on gravity to do the work for us, if the crowns start to get branches matted together, they just won't fall, and it really doesn't take a lot of branches to snag behind another tree to stop one falling, and that's the situation we're trying to avoid if we can. So we're going to go and take down that birch, a couple more spruce, and then we'll see what that opens up to take down some more. Into the Chewbacca.
We've done 2 chipper bags so far, and now it is lunchtime. On a good day, this is about how much we managed to do. Fill 2 chipper bags in the morning and 2 chipper bags in the afternoon. Every couple weeks, we make a batch of burritos, and then on days like today, when we are working in the field, just take them out of the freezer, microwave, and lunch is done. After a full day of working in the forest, there is one more task to do, which is to tap a birch tree. Oh, sap is already running.
Yep.
Look, it's gushing out.
It's just gushing out.
Definitely not as sweet as maple sap, but it's still delicious.
That's pouring out so fast.
Yeah. That's, I think, much faster than any of the maple trees.
I mean, steady state, it's dripping like that. That's pretty good.
Yeah. So we're not gonna make maple syrup out of this because it's just not sweet enough for that.
And it's not maple.
And it's not maple.
So it'll be birch syrup, I
Yes,
guess.
so we're not gonna make birch syrup. We're just gonna drink this. We tapped the trees last night around 5 o'clock, and it's now the next day around 3 o'clock. Let's see how much it has produced. Nice, a decent amount. Half a jar of this and full jar of this. When we tapped the maple trees, those didn't start producing for a few days, but now we got the birch at the time when it's producing quite a lot. I'm excited. So we'll be now using the chipper for what is it, about a month now? 3 weeks?
3 weeks.
3 weeks, and we chipped about almost 40 yards of wood chips through this. So the blades are starting to get dull. How we saw that is that especially spruce, it started coming out kind of stringy instead of like small wood chips. So
at least we think that's one of the reasons it's coming out stringy and not
Yeah.
chipping nicely. It's also probably everything's getting warmer, the
wetter.
trees are getting wetter, the ground yesterday especially was a bit wet as well, but we think the blades not being completely sharp is probably not helping.
Yeah, so these blades are reversible, so we can take the blade out and we can turn it around. So this is the edge. You kind of maybe can see the nicks in the edge, and this is the new one that we're gonna swap around, and then that edge, fresh edge, is gonna be here, and hopefully that will make the chipping faster again, because it was starting to get blocked quite often.
I think yesterday's bag, we filled one bag and it got blocked like, what, half a dozen times?
Yeah, each time it's pretty quick to unblock it, but it's still, you need to like stop the chipper and then unblock it and continue.
So yeah, probably overdue. They say, in the manual it says replace or sharpen or reverse the blades every 25 to 50 hours. We're probably somewhere in the middle of that range right now, yeah. Based on what we've done.
Yep.
So yeah, time to change or reverse.
Yep.
We've just brought down 3 spruce, including this big one here. This is a 14-incher. Unfortunately, I don't know if you can tell on the camera, but rain has just stopped play. It is raining. It's not a lot of fun to work in the rain, like we said before. So we're going to call it for now, head down, get some lunch. If the weather improves later, we'll come back out. But the forecast for the next day or so isn't great, so we'll just have to see. But this is one of the benefits of having the RV on the property. Had we been driving over like we were last year, almost an hour each way, then we'd have had to make that decision this morning. Do we come over for the whole day, or if it looks like it's going to rain, do we skip it? Now we can get a few hours in the morning. We've done a load of maintenance on the chipper, on the tractor. We've actually got a decent half day's work in. Even if we call it today, it's still been worthwhile.
Yesterday we got rained out, so the first thing we're doing this morning is chipping these 3 spruce trees, which will probably generate about 2 yards of wood chips. And hopefully we finish that before we get rained out again today. This is a crazy large wood chip pile. It's probably 15 by 15 and 6 foot high. And it's about probably close to 50 yards of wood chips. I mean, that is insane. And today we did an experiment. Well, I was curious, so I kind of uncovered a little bit of wood chips to see whether they're warm, and they're actually really warm.
Like actually super warm.
Yeah, if you dig about a foot deep, it was so hot it was hard even to touch. So we used this temperature gun to measure it, and
it was 120 degrees Fahrenheit, which is basically the top end temperature for a residential hot water system, and that's just a foot down.
Yeah.
So this thing is definitely composting. We should probably try and aerate it, get some air in here, but I have no idea how to do that. Like, we can barely even reach a quarter of the way in with the tractor forks. Yeah. So we need to work out something for this. But we do have a proper compost thermometer on the way. That actually arrives tomorrow. It's a heavy duty 3 foot long one.
Yeah.
And then we can put the probe all the way down into the middle and see what the middle's doing.
Well, not quite all the way down. Oh, I suppose if it's 6 foot high and 3 foot deep, then I guess it's...
maybe somewhere close to the middle, but deeper anyway than what we dug today. But yeah, that's kind of crazy. So need to work out what we're going to do with this, because we might be about to have nearly 50 yards of compost.
And this space here is running out of space. We have trees all around and kind of the road here. So we'll need to find a new place for our compost pile. And
yeah, so we're thinking over there, you can maybe be able to see there's some smaller, like fat but short logs just behind the really big pine log that's on the ground there. And that is one of the areas that we're thinking could be a good candidate. At the rate that we're acquiring wood chips and mulch and things, this is just coming straight up all the trees we're chipping.
Yeah.
It is not going to last very long though, so we're probably going to need multiple piles. Have to find some more sites for them as well, and then start using some of this compost.
Yes. $113, $115, $117. Wow. And it's steam coming off too. So I like numbers, and I like tracking things. So obviously I have tracked how many trees we have felled. So far we have felled 137 trees and 46 bags of wood chips that we have
Yard bags. 46 yards of wood chips.
46 yards of wood chips.
Whoa.
That's about 4 weeks or so.
How many days of actual work in the forest?
13 days of.
13 days actually like working out here in the forest.
Yeah, not counting like maintenance and stuff like that.
So we're averaging a little over 10 trees a day.
Yeah.
Including felling them, limbing them,
and chipping them,
bucking them, stacking them.
Yeah.
All the clear up involved in that, with nothing more than the tractor, the chipper, and a chainsaw and ourselves.
Yeah.
There's no excavator, there's no grapple. If the log is too deep in the off the trail, we hook up a couple of chains and drag it out, which slows us down a lot. But I'm pretty pleased with that. For two people that have never done this before,
yes,
I'm reasonably happy with 10 trees a day.
And our contractor who's going to do the grading visited us.
Same person who did the driveway.
Yeah, and he said how neat the site looks like.
He says the cleanest site he's ever seen, which maybe he was just being nice, but honestly, compared to if we had been doing this with, like if we'd had a logging crew in, I'm sure the site wouldn't have been as clean, not because they wouldn't do a good job, just because they're using heavy machines. They're going to tear up the ground a lot more than we have been doing,
and we
just because of
pay
that.
them to spend all the time to clean it up.
And chipping and everything.
Yeah.
So, yeah. So we're making progress. We've still got a long way to go. I suspect we're maybe pushing halfway at this point.
I hope so.
Maybe a third to halfway through. So a lot more still to go.
So thanks for watching. And if you're first time here, please subscribe to follow our journey to build our dream home in Vermont.
And leave us a comment and let us know what you think we should do with all of these composting wood chips.